Hello and welcome to a Passenger Seat podcast. A podcast designed to fill your passenger seat with chat about classic cars, all usually recorded from my 1968 Morris Minor Peggy. But today I am in something different, as you can kind of see around me. I am in my dad's Singer Chamois Coupe, and you will have seen it on the channel before, as I did a podcast not long after he'd first got it, comparing it to my 1968 Morris Minor Peggy. Peggy is still away for restoration at the time of recording this, and so I have borrowed the Chamois for a weekend up in Cheshire with the Singer Owners Club. So it's quite an appropriate car for me to have taken. There will have been a podcast all about what we got up to on this fantastic weekend in Cheshire, but what we're going to go through today is some fantastic interviews that I was fortunate enough to do with some of the members of the Singer Owners Club. I actually tried this format out with the very first time with the Singer Owners Club 2 years ago, getting people to talk to me about their experiences of the cars, the car clubs, whatever it is, at these events. And 2 years later, I was back again, and I was fortunate enough to talk to founding member of the Singer Owners Club, two fantastic twins who have gone to every single Singer National Day since 1986, and to another very early member of the club to talk about their experiences of being in the club for such a long time, why they keep coming to the events so regularly, what the club has done for them over the years, and their experiences of owning Singer vehicles. And interestingly, we got somebody who owned a Le Mans, somebody who owned a Roadster, and the twins who have owned Roadsters and Gazelles. So a fantastic mix of a lot of the Singer marques that were on display at that Singer National weekend, and some fantastic stories. These people were such great characters to talk to, and just a brilliant experience to kind of capture some of their stories. So I hope you enjoy it. So I'm here with Keith McDowell, and you were one of the founding members of the club?
I was the founder.
The founder, yeah. And you're now president.
No, they've only left me as a vice president.
Vice president. Well, you don't want too much power, do you?
All I'm in charge of is vice now.
Yeah. And have you had a good weekend?
Yes, it's very enjoyable to come back again, yes.
Yeah. How many of these do you think you've been to? Any guesses?
Well, of course, in my day, we didn't hold events like that. We held competitive events, trials and even racing at Silverstone. We didn't do much of this sort of beauty parade stuff.
Yeah.
But now these cars aren't competitive, so they changed it. And they get very good support. So we came last year and I did present the prizes. But I haven't been for some years, so I find it quite amazing that something I started in 1951 when I was 21 is going with membership all over the world.
Yes, and in something like 700 or something odd members today.
Yes.
How many was there of you in the start?
Well, the very first meeting, which we held in Hertfordshire, there were about 50 people turned up to form the club, and I suppose we had around 200 in the early days. Well, that was quite lively, and we were, as I say, we were taking part in sort of events competing with MGs, and we took part in the 6-hour relay race at Silverstone, which is one make car clubs competing with a handicap system. And the first year we came 7th. The second year we won.
Oh yeah.
The third year we were handicapped, and the fourth year we won again. So the first 4 years, the Singer Owners Club won too.
Adding to a great history of singers winning some fantastic races over the years.
We called it the poor man's Le Mans.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So what was it about the Singer marque that made you want to start a club?
Well, I was a local reporter in South London, and I was just beginning to have a bit of money, and I had an Austin 7. That's what I learned to drive on. Part of the deal, I bought it from another reporter as a condition he taught me to drive.
Yeah.
But then I realised what a lousy car it was. And everything it touched was either rusted on or split pins, and I got fed up with it. And a colleague on another paper, he'd got this rather attractive looking red car, four-seater, but open. It was a singer. I didn't know a lot about them, and but I said he was thinking of going to Canada, so I said, well, if you ever go, I'll buy that off you. Well, he came to me and said, I am going, so I bought it, and it was such a revelation compared with my old Austin 7.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I wonder, a bit more about the history of these cars. So I went to the local library and got a book out called Wheelspin by C.A.N. May, which is suddenly he's referred to in the current magazine of the club last month. And he was in the MG team, and they were competing in the trials of the day, climbing the muddy hill climbs, which singers with. That's why they have the two back tyres. They used to be knobbly tyres, especially for trials.
Yeah.
And these cars, lots of power about. So the singers, I found, have been competing very well.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I wonder if anybody else is interested. I put a notice in the Autosport. Anybody interested in forming a club for singer members? Meet me at this pub in Hertfordshire. And when I turned up, there were over 50 people there. I was late, and I had trouble on the way.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And well, from then, we formed the club. That was 1951.
Yeah, wow. And it must have grown quite, 50 to start with is fantastic. And then obviously at the time, because that was 1951, they were still making more singers.
Yeah, they're still making the
roadsters
and the saloons. I eventually did buy brand new a Singer Hunter saloon.
Yeah.
When I was in Fleet Street. Yeah.
So how many singers do you reckon you've had over the years?
About 7. I think.
About 7.
Yeah. I owned the racing one, what's called the White Lady.
Yeah.
It was in the 2 Silverstone races in the winning team. That only weighed 12 underweight, went like a rocket.
Yeah, gosh.
It's a special.
Yeah, and you can imagine, because some of these ones are so light that you put any sort of slightly well-tuned engine in it and it will absolutely go, won't it?
I drove one like that in Silverstone in '63 in the pouring rain. I've never seen the skids like it. Wow.
Yeah, amazing. And what do you think of kind of how the club's grown over the years?
I'm very, very proud of it. I think the amount of effort they put into this, get great friendship, the people love it. Lots of wives love it. They're not bored by it. They've made friends too, and it's a great camaraderie, team spirit.
Absolutely. I can't speak more highly of the sorts of friendships you can get from car clubs. My parents have got friends that came to their wedding and things like that from car clubs, and yeah, I'm now the same. That I've got friends that I've made through car clubs. It's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for speaking to me.
Okay.
And I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day.
Thank you. Thanks for interviewing me.
So I'm joined by Brian and Frank Clarkson, and you're twins.
We are. Yeah. I'm the eldest. 20 minutes.
20 minutes makes all the difference, doesn't it?
It does. Because the thing is, my brother pushed me out, and he's been pushing me ever since, kicking me ever since.
So who got into singers first?
Right. I would say that was Brian. He bought a 4A in complete strip down.
Yeah.
But it had every different part of the English cars in it, from Wolseley's to BMC's.
Oh, someone had really parts binned it.
Yes, and our first visit was to it was a hall where you went to get some photographs of the club, of cars in the club.
Yeah.
So we could go back home and start rebuilding this roadster that he bought in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
It was a 4AD, and I seen it all, and I got told then to get in touch with Trevor Cornelius. Now Trevor Cornelius was in the club, and he was a restorer, and he restored the 4 ADs. So I rang him and he said, yes, Brian. I said, well, I've got this 4 AD, and I said, I've got an engine and gearbox in another car, which is a donor car I'm going to use. Anyway, Trevor came up to my house in North Wales, and when he came up, he had a look round. He looked at the car that I'd bought, the 4 AD, and he said, Brian, you got a Wolseley engine in there, you got a BMW, and not a BMW, a BMC front suspension. He said, and you got no boot lid, he said, and the back axle is different. He said, you're wasting time. So I said to him, well, I've got another car in the other garage, which I'm going to take the gearbox out and the engine. I said, it's a Series 1, and it's a Singer engine. He came and had a look, and he said, no, that's not the Singer engine, and that's not the 1500. I said, Trevor, I've got it on the logbook, it says. Anyway, when he took another closer look at the car and checked the engine, he said, you're right, it is. That'll go into the 4 AD. He said, but you know what? He said, you'd be a bloody fool, he said, to put that engine and gearbox into that car. That's a waste of time. We have not got a Series 1 Gazelle in the club. And if I were you, he said, do the car up, have it resprayed, re-chromed and all done. He said, you'd be better off to do that.
So that's this one?
That's this one I'm sitting in now, yes.
And how long have you had it now?
I've had it since 1996.
Gosh.
And Trevor turned around and said, if you really want a 4 AD, I've got one back at home in Kent. I said, have you, Trevor? He said, yes. He said, I rebuilt it, he says, it was for the Singer Bank. And he said, it's in blue, because that's the colour of the bank. And it was put up as a raffle, and a guy in Scotland won the raffle. When he won the raffle, the car was delivered to him, and he had it for 3 months outside his door. And he got in touch with Trevor and said to Trevor, Trevor, I don't want the car. I'm not interested in the car. I'm not an enthusiast. Will you take it back and see if you can sell it?
Yeah.
So Trevor said to me, that's the car. He said, and I've stripped it right down to the chassis. So I said, well, how much do you want for it? But I'm not going to tell you the price.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
He went on, I said, well, okay, Trev, yes. And he turned around and he said, see all them bits that you've got stuck there, he said. I said, yeah. He said, I tell you what, if you buy that car, I'll give you £1,000 for all the bits, but I don't want the engine. So I said, okay, Trev, you got a deal. So we shook on it, but I went down to have a test run to Kent in the car. It ran well, actually. I enjoyed it, went round. It stopped once or twice, but that was teething problems with the car. But I decided then, yes, we would buy the car. And that's a 4 AD. And I did the Singer Gazelle Series 1, which only had 12,000 miles on the clock. So I decided to do this one up. I had it all resprayed and re-chromed.
How many miles has it got on the clock now?
Well, I've got about 24,000 on the clock now, so it hasn't done that many.
Yeah. And when did you get your first Singer?
My first Singer was back in 1984. I bought it, it was a Series 3, and I had, prior to that, a Singer Gazelle convertible.
Yeah.
And I bought that for a ridiculous price of £200.
Oh wow.
Going back to 84. And on the trips round I said, right, it wanted doing up bits and pieces, and I seen another Gazelle, saloon though, and that was down in Llandudno, or in a place called Llanrwst.
Yeah.
And I said, I wouldn't mind. It's on the garage forecourt. And I called in and seen the garage people, and I said, is that Singer Gazelle for sale? I said, I'm interested, I said, in buying it, I said, as a donor car. And they said, we don't think it's for sale, but we'll ask the owner. It's in here. You can't get the parts for it. I said, what parts are those? They said, oh, it's a clutch slave cylinder and the clutch master cylinder. I said, well, have a word with them. So they give me they had a word, come back and said the lady would, her father's car, he'd had it since new.
Gosh.
And he'd gone down to Roots in the old days where you picked the car up. And she said every morning before he'd start the car, he'd put the starting handle in, give her a couple of turns, the engine, turn it over before he'd use the starter motor to start the engine. So anyway, I explained to her, I said, you know, I don't want the car, really, I only want the bits and pieces of it. But I said, it wants some work doing, right? So I offered her, I think it was about about £185. Anyway, she said, well, we can't get the parts for it, so yeah, all right, we'll sell it to you.
Yeah.
So I ended up towing it home, and I was going to take seats out and one thing or another. But before I did that, I got in touch with Singer Owners Club and explained what I had intentions, and they sent a couple of people down to have a look at it, and had a look all around. Had a look at the convertible, which is the one I wanted to do, and he said, you got a car here, it's like a licorice all sorts, there's everything on it.
Yeah.
So I said, well, it's all right, I've got a donor car there, let's have a look at the donor car. So I opened the garage up, went in, looked at the donor car, which was the 3C, and he said, whatever you do, don't touch it, keep that as it is. I said, oh, well, it had some holes in the top of the wings and one thing and another. So I decided to do that. Unfortunately, the Gazelle got ransacked by kids and damaged this. I've still got the engine and the gearbox and bits and pieces. Anyway, I decided to take their advice. So I left it in the garage and I kept promising to do something with it.
Yeah.
Until my daughter said, Dad, I want to get married in that car.
Oh.
So I had to dress the wings up, had it resprayed and everything.
Yeah.
So that actually went on the road around about 86, 87.
Yeah.
I only just sold that around about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
To a chap in Ireland, and
he's in the club.
He's a member of the club. I'm just trying to think of his name, but it'll come to me in a minute.
It's interesting how you both bought cars, bought a donor car, and then the donor car, both of you ended up being the car that you ended up keeping and working on.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. So you know,
we're twins, though, see.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. These sorts of things always happen.
Always happen.
So how long have you both been in the club?
Oh, I would say 80, 85 or 87. I think the first rally we went on.
Hey, hang on, it was Trevor Cornelius who came up, and I bought the 4AD, and he said, right, Brian. Oh, and I met his wife then, Avis, and he said, you've got to join the club.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, okay, I'm going to join the club. So I told Frank, so he joined the club as well. And we were still working at that time, and we used to finish work at 5 o'clock and race down. And I tell you now, the first one was Chatham Docks.
Oh gosh, miles away.
So that was miles away. So Frank went in his free Gazelle, green one, and I went down the 4AD. Anyway, we were there and we had a lovely time, absolutely fantastic. We were made really welcome by all the members of the club, like, you know. And I come away and they said, oh, Brian, you won the first prize. I said, but I've got to leave. We've got to leave at 5 o'clock. We've got to get home. And we had these old cars, and it's a long track home. So we left at 5 o'clock and we raced up the M1, the M6. We stopped on the M6, and then we got home just about 10:15 at night. But we joined the club, and that was the first outing that we went to with the club.
Yeah.
Chatham Docks, you know.
So how many of these do you think you've been to?
Every one since then.
Every one since then?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
We haven't missed any.
We haven't
actually.
missed any.
And
In fact, we got a cup because we're the longest standing who
Come to every single
come
one.
to every single one.
Oh.
So our names are on one of the cups.
Yeah.
They
I
just
think your name's on a few cups because I've seen you win a few things.
Yes, it is. You're right there.
Oh.
I
I'm
won a
getting
couple.
cheesed up getting the cups, and I've got to get my name on them, like. And then they come on the phone to you and they say to you, "You've got the cup. Make sure you have it all polished and bring back,
Yeah.
like, you know." Which is a good thing because it's nice to see all these cups on display,
It is.
and somebody else wins one, you know. So
It was nice seeing them all out with the cars last night at the
Yeah,
dinner,
it
wasn't
was.
it?
it was nice, and also the wives, they enjoy it. They say,
Yeah.
you know, "Oh, I'm not going next time," but they always come.
They always come.
They always come. They come for the hotels that we go to. But what they do enjoy
They like the
is for
company.
the people that organises it and goes round different places we would never go normally.
Because you're quite local to here.
We are.
Yes.
Had you been to any of the stuff that has been on the last couple of days before?
Yes, we've been out to the Shire Horses.
Yeah.
We went there. We went
Avron.
The
Avron,
Avro Museum.
Yeah, the Avro
Avron, yeah.
Museum, the Engine Museum. Yeah, we try to go to them all, like, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
What's one of your... Finish up by asking kind of, what's one of your favourite memories with the cars?
The
With the
favourite
cars.
one.
Yeah,
Well-
favourite memory you've got with the car?
I would say
I-
one of mine was when we were in Dover. When we were in Dover in the castle,
Yeah.
because
Was
you
that
know,
with the national weekend? Was
yeah,
it?
yeah, national weekend. Don't normally go out for a run without the club, like
Yeah.
round, and obviously when we park the cars up, there's always somebody coming over.
Yeah.
Dad had one like that.
Yeah.
So and so had one. Oh, that's lovely. I remember driving those cars
Yeah.
and asking all information on the cars. You know, surprised how many people are really, really interested
Yeah.
in the old cars, like, yeah.
But so the club had you all parked up in Dover Castle?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, all
amazing.
parked there. Yeah, yeah.
And we were on the side of the hill,
Yeah.
and it looked fantastic. And then we walked all around the castle. No matter where you went, you could see the cars.
Oh, beautiful.
And then we went over where all the Spitfires were, you
Yeah.
know, and you could virtually just see the English Channel from it. It was an excellent weekend.
And what about you? What's one of your favourites?
Well, we went to one there, and that plane, that picture that we won last night.
Oh, yes.
Now we were there
Yeah.
at that, and Frank's there. Now that was one of our favourite ones, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
fantastic photo.
Yeah, and we enjoyed Chatham as well.
Yeah.
Chatham Docks. That's
We
why.
must have done because you kept coming.
Well, we
Yeah.
kept coming,
Yeah.
and there's Jo, my wife, there, you know, and yes, we enjoy it, and we also enjoy the company of everybody
Yeah.
that comes to the rally, you know, all the ladies and gents, like, you know, and it's nice to let the public come round and see the cars
Yeah.
and ask questions, you know.
Yeah, it was quite nice because there was a wedding on last night and
Yeah.
they loved seeing all the cars in the car park and stuff, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Oh, well,
They did.
thank you ever so much for talking to me, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day and hopefully see you again at next year's one.
Well, definitely, Rebecca.
Yeah.
It's up in Yorkshire, isn't it?
County Durham,
County Durham.
so a little bit further north.
Yeah, well, we have been as far as
The Lake District.
no, further than that. Come on, John. One up north. Oh, we've been
That-
Dunkendall.
Kendall's up in the Lake District,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
I don't think we went any further than that.
We did.
We'll have to look in the back of our Google.
Yeah, we'd have
Yeah.
to look.
Are you
in there.
thinking of York?
York?
Yeah.
Yes, York with the Vikings and all
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
that. Was excellent. That one there.
Oh.
It's first time I had to do a puncture repair.
Oh gosh.
Pair of tyre levers, off with the tyre,
Yeah.
fix the inner tube, put it back on, put the tyre back on. All done with just the hands and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tyre levers. None of this fancy
Machine.
machinery
and
that they've
everything.
got to do it now. These like press buttons and everything.
Yeah.
No, we had to do it the hard way.
Well, Rebecca, you've come, you've asked for the interview, you got the interview, and you know what else you brought?
The sunshine.
The sunshine.
Thank you very
You've
much.
done very well.
So I'm here with Bob Andrew, and you joined the club in 1958.
In 58, yes.
And what did you join the club with?
I sing a roadster.
Singer Roadster, and that's
Yes.
what you still are into.
Yes, that's what I'm
Is
still
that
into.
the only singers that you've ever had?
Oh
or?
no, I've had other singers. I've had a singer Le Mans, I've had SM 1500, 2 singer Hunters, and handfuls of singer roadsters.
So what is it about the Roadsters that you keep going back to?
Just a general usable car, keeps up with modern traffic within reason,
Yeah,
and I just like them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So why did you join the club back in 1958?
Well, my father bought a 1946 Singer Roadster when he came demobbed from the war,
Yeah,
and he bought it in 1947. So I was brought up with a Singer Roadster like that black one there.
yeah,
And as time went by, you usually liked what your father had.
yep,
And he then, I persuaded him to buy a later Singer Roadster, a 1955 4AD Singer Roadster,
yeah,
which we then had. Basically, it was my mother's car. And then when I was of age to drive, which is similar at that similar time, I then bought it off my father
yep.
and ran it till I did 80,000 miles on it,
Oh my
and it was
gosh.
brilliant. It was a very, very good car.
So what was the club like in the early days?
Quite different. It was all competition.
Yep,
Probably half a dozen rallies, road rallies on the roads per year. There would probably be a hill climb during the year. There would probably be a sprint,
yep,
and then there would be the gymkhana type things where you're reversing into boxes and things like
yes,
that. So that's really what it was, and then spare parts that our club members used to bring along.
Yeah.
That's all changed, and hardly any of those things exist.
yes. Well, I think some years I've been to nationals and there's been like a gymkhana on the Friday night, and that's
Yes.
always quite fun.
Yes,
I
that's
like
right.
the one where you have to guess kind of how wide your car is and then kind of
Yes,
drive through
that sort
it.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, that was basically what used to happen. So it was a very different club,
Yeah.
much smaller, of course, but very good club's always been a brilliant club.
And what's one of your like favourite memories from being in the club or out with your cars and things?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I did so many things. I mean, I went on the continent with
Yeah.
the lads with their MGs and
Oh,
and a
amazing.
friend who had one of the early minis, and we went down to the south of France and the Italian Riviera. So that was a great trip.
I bet a Roadster looked amazing down
yeah.
on the Italian Riviera.
Yeah, it was lovely. And then I did a Scottish trip, similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I used it a lot. I mean, I did all that mileage in a very short time,
Yeah,
really.
absolutely.
And then in 1963, I had sold it by then. 1961, I beg your pardon. I'd sold it by then and gone to Australia.
Yeah.
Where, of course, when I got there, we bought a Singer SM 1500 as a run-around car.
So what was it your experience and fondness of the Roadster back home that then when you were in Australia you sought out another singer?
Yes, I mean, you know, sort of brought up with singers, so that's what I liked.
Yeah.
They always say it's what Dad had, you liked.
Yes.
So I like
Yeah,
singers.
absolutely.
So that's how it happened. Yeah.
So what keeps you coming back to events even today?
Well, I mean, this is a brilliant club. It's always been a brilliant club, and I know a terrific lot of people, and it's always a friendly do. Everybody's very friendly. Nobody's snooty about their cars, because singers were more for sort of working people perhaps than those with money.
Yeah.
And it's just always a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I keep coming.
So what's been your favourite thing about this weekend?
Company,
Yeah.
the company.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you have a nice time at the meal and stuff last night?
Yes, we enjoyed the dinner very much. It was very good, and I think the organisation for this day has been amazing.
Yeah.
Just like last year's was amazing, and
Yeah.
the year before.
They're really
always
fortunate in the club to have so many people that take up
very,
running
very,
a weekend. and
very,
doing
very
it
lucky.
beautifully.
We've got somebody who's doing the Northeast next year,
Yep.
so that's very exciting. So I'll hope to get there,
Yeah, absolutely. I hopefully see you.
either by train, by car, or something.
Yeah.
If I'm still around, you never know.
Hopefully so. Well,
But you never know.
thank you very much for talking
No,
to me.
that's a pleasure.
And have a safe journey home.
Yes, we're off now.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So I hope you've enjoyed their stories. It was so good to speak to them and to kind of capture some of their experiences with the cars and also their experiences of the day and the weekend up in Cheshire. A highlight for me was definitely talking to the twins. It was so funny when I was trying to organise that interview because neither of them wanted to sit in the other's gazelle, and so we had to get that set up that I think you'll have seen if you were watching on the YouTube channel, where they were each sat in their own gazelles and I was kind of sat in the middle mediating between the two of them, which was absolutely fantastic, and some great stories from them. But to hear also about the experiences of founding the club and having the 50 members turn up in that first instance, and the club just goes strength and strength from there. Fantastic to have kind of captured that. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit more about the Singer Owners Club, and in the meantime, drive safely and happy motoring.